Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is waihigakmuturi, and as you know it, we are live on Let's Create Africa. Today we have some amazing personality. Not a number, but he can represent a number of people, definitely. But we have one amazing chap called Chidi Nwaogu. I hope I said it right, man. Like this time I've tried. Please tell me I've tried. Sorry, we can't hear you.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you tried.
It's okay. It's okay. Thank you, man, for joining us. So please, I think just to not waste people's time, because I'm just the host of this thing. And guys, you remember on Let's Create Africa, where we inspire, inform, and highlight change makers in Africa, we feature great Africans doing great work in Africa. And today, again, I repeat, we have Chidi. So please send in your questions. Send in all those things that you wanted to ask him. Chidi is from Nigeria, and he'll say more about himself. Lagos, Nigeria, to be precise. Chidi, I think you can take over from here because I'm not doing justice representing you. So please, just tell us about yourself and what you're doing currently. I think that will be the highlight of this event as we start. So please take over, man.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. I'm Chidi, and I'm a tech entrepreneur and software developer. I run a startup company based in Lagos called Publiseer, and we typically work with creative people, which means writers, musicians, filmmakers, video game developers. We more like handle the business part, help them to earn a living from their creative content. I recently started a program called Savvy with a couple of entrepreneurs from over 30 countries, and we're just trying to help to kickstart their impact-driven ventures and scale their businesses. And yeah, so far Savvy has continue. You saw?
No, it's okay. It's okay. Continue. I wanted to rudely interrupt, but but you were saying something meaningful, so please continue.
Yeah. So speaking of the traction for Publisher and Savvy, Savvy started August this year, and so we are barely three months old, and we have received about 27,000 applicants, and we've selected 2,000 or 2,000 over 2,000 fellows from 104 countries actually. And Publisher, we have over 6,000 creatives on our platform, and we are currently serving 5 African countries.
Amazing, man. Amazing. I mean, just to make it clear, why do you even do what you do? Like, first, you do so many things. Let's start with that. Apart from running Publisher, which I even want to ask. Let's start with that. Publisher. Why Publisher? The name, and also why are you running such an organization in Africa, especially?
Yeah. So the name Publisher, it's an Afrikaans word. So it's a language spoken in South Africa, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Namibia, and it simply means publish. So it's just more like a translation. And the reason why I and my twin brother started Publisher was because as creative, I was a writer, I was a professional writer, and he's still a professional recording artist. And we kind of had experienced a lot of challenges, trying to monetize our content. Distributing the content was not the problem, but receiving the royalties was a huge problem. And while we started Publisher, we realized that there are more problems other than monetization. We have content fine tuning. A lot of creatives get their content rejected or returned from these stores, and there was still a lot of problems with piracy and copyright infringement. And so we created a digital media platform, Publisher, to be able to solve these problems for ourselves and then also for other people. So that's how Publisher was founded.
Okay, and what's with the direct aim of Publisher? I mean, how long has it been around, by the way?
Publisher is around for 3 years and 3 months, so it's relatively old and young. The aim of the platform is to help creative people to focus on the creating process. Just focus on the creating process. We handle every other thing. Just and that's why if you go to our website, the first thing you read is "we do the rest," and that means that we want you to focus and so that we handle every other thing for you. Just create and then submit to us, and then we handle everything from content fine tuning to content protection to content monetization to content distribution.
But why? Why Publiseer? Why did you even decide to start such an organization? You could have done everything else, anything else actually. Yeah, but why this?
Yeah, so I would have to tell the backstory behind why the company actually came about. This happened sometime 4 years ago, actually. So like I told you, my twin, I was a writer. He's still a recording artist. So we sold our startup company, our second startup company, and we just decided to take a break from that tech entrepreneurship. We said we wanted to do other things, and I wrote 3 books actually, and he did 2 studio albums, and we just wanted to make money out of it, without independently, without having to be signed to a record label or to submit our book or be published by a popular, renowned traditional book publisher. So we wanted to do it independently. My brother was introduced to an aggregator in the United States, and they distribute content to platforms like music, to platforms like Spotify and iTunes. He distributed his music with them, but although the distribution fee that they charged was too expensive, but he was able to pay for it. But that was the first thing we noticed, that the distribution fee is something that independent creatives mostly in Africa might not be able to afford. After the distribution, he made over $5,000, and because he did some social media campaign and marketing. Now it was he wanted to receive his royalties, and then that's when he realized that they primarily pay royalties via PayPal. In Nigeria, Ghana, we don't have access to PayPal, so he went to check payment. But after like about 2 months, he never received the check. So he reached out to the platform to know why hasn't the check arrived. They said, you received your money. And he said, no, I've not received my money. I have not even received the check. And then they did some investigation and realized that somebody in Oslo, Norway, used the fake ID, intercepted his check, and took his money. And this was $1,000. And it for every creative, that's anticipating for to receive their first royalty, and to realize that somebody took their hard earnings, it's really painful, right? So he had to take his content down from the aggregator. But like I said, we learned 3 things that day. The first was that the distribution fee of these aggregators are too expensive. Their royalty payment systems do not work for us, and they don't even distribute to African stores in the first place. And so we said to ourselves, so a year later, he told me that he wanted us to create a platform that solves this problem. And that was after, he and I were able to solve the problems for ourselves. So he said, we have been able to solve these problems for ourselves. Why don't you think we just package this as a product and just put it out to other people and help other people do the same thing? And that was how we started Publiseer.
Amazing, man. Amazing. So before I even continue with the rest of the questions, I mean, dude, you've been winning awards left, right, and center every year, man. Like every year you've been winning certain awards here and there. What's the deal with that? Like, is it that you enjoy winning awards, or what is it about?
Yeah, so winning is more like a validation. So in tech, in entrepreneurship, when you win something, it just validates what you're doing. Because there are amazing people doing amazing things out there. But then out of everybody, you were singled out. Your product was singled out. What your actions was singled out as the best. So I think that's more like a validation for what you're doing and the work you're doing. And to me, it's more like an encouragement to keep doing what I'm doing. It's more like just like when you go to the gym and you take energy drinks so that you can keep working out. So that's how when you win awards and prizes, it's more like you're being recognized. For example, a scientist has been working on maybe a cure for something, and then all of a sudden he eventually wins the Nobel Prize in medicine. It's really motivates him that the world appreciates what he's doing, and what it gives that drive and that motivation to keep moving, the momentum that you need. And so for me, I always also, apart from winning, most of these awards and prizes, they come with acceleration programs, people, or growth programs rather. So, they are also, apart from the award that they give you or the prize that they give you, they also, try to help you to further scale, your product, or to, further scale what you're doing. So for us, it's a win-win thing. Apart from the prize, we know that, getting the prize is good, but also it helps us to to keep to move a step further into what we are doing. So for me,
Mhm.
it's been a great journey, just getting so many diverse people working on my project, not only my team, because you get, like, winning the ITU Innovation Challenge. We had a lot of people from different countries, working on Publiseer for free. People telling ideas, giving you what, just more like testing what you're doing. Some people telling
Mhm.
you that this product can actually work in my country, Argentina, and I had no idea that this can work in Argentina. And but during that conversation, I was able to know that, okay, this can work in Argentina, this can even work outside of Africa. And so yeah, it's actually good to actually know all these things.
Okay, and then please tell us some of the impact highlights of your work. Like what has been the craziest thing that you've been up to? What have been the greatest impact highlights of your work, both in Africa? I mean, just talking about going into South America, Argentina is a big deal. So, what are the other impact highlights, especially in our continent, when it comes to Publiseer and even the fellowship and the work you do generally? What have been the few highlights you can mention?
Yeah, so for me, the highlights are those little moments when I receive emails from a creative that we are working with, who says to me, I'm so indebted, I'm so grateful for what you've done for me. I did, I received an email about 2 months ago, and
Hmm.
he has been able to earn a living just from his content on our platform. He doesn't even need to keep a day job, and he never thought it was possible to achieve something like that. And those things alone, it's not all about the 56 million downloads that we've recorded, but receiving these kinds of emails from people telling you, thanking you for the service that you've given to them, letting you understand, where they are coming from and how far you've taken them. It's
Hmm.
that's the highlight. That's the highlight for me. Like I tell you, I'm not really crazy about the numbers. Although the numbers are good, but once,
Yes.
but I just like that face to face, that impact. I want to be able to understand that, it's not about number, but is there one person that I've been able to, sustainably impact their life, in a point that, I left them, out, they're in a state where, they wouldn't have been there if not because of my product. And
Hmm.
yeah, me, that's the highlight each time I wake up and I see an email like that telling me, thank you for everything you're doing. And and some of them even say a little prayer for you, and it's just amazing that so many people are praying for you. You just, it's, to me, I think that's one of the reasons why I keep moving forward, because as you keep doing this for people and people are thanking you and praying for you, there's just literally no room for you to just to fail. So yeah,
Amazing.
for Savvy,
Hmm.
Savvy for me, when I first starting Savvy, I had no idea it was going to be this big. I I actually thought, I was actually thinking on a small scale. I just wanted to, like, I was not thinking about big things. I was thinking about
Hmm.
small. Maybe I can just impact it. I can just have maybe 100 fellows. But
Hmm.
then, while creating, brainstorming about the platform and the program, um, we just decided to go a different direction, and I was unsure because, have you ever, I don't know if this has ever have happened to you, but have you ever tried to do something and you feel it's just too much, too big, and you're taking on something too big? And
Oh yes, most definitely.
that's how I felt when I started, starting Savvy. I felt, I think this is too much and taking on something too big. But then, it's been an amazing journey so far. You know, we got into 100 countries in just less than 9. And actually, we're not thinking about that kind of figure, even in the next 3 years. So, it's amazing to, and also, getting people's feedback, telling me that, like, I recently got someone write to me that, from what he was able to learn at Savvy, he was able to put it into his acceleration program, and he won a grant of $10,000. And just that alone, makes me feel good. Like, when people feel like, when people are telling you, this kind of success story, that $10,000 is not my money, but it's somehow, I feel really like connected to that success, to that growth, because I know that it was what I taught somebody that they were able to use to to get that grant. And to me, that alone, it's, and for me, is the big win for me. Yeah.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Somebody is actually asking right now, how are you empowering others to emulate your work? And I think that's both in Kenya and even outside Kenya. Actually, Africa, sorry, not Kenya per se.
Yeah. How am I empowering them to emulate my work? I
Exactly.
keep telling people not to emulate me. I want people to be better than I am. I want people to do much better than I've done. I don't want people to just be like me. And when people always reach out to me and say, I want to be like you, and I always say, be yourself. Then eventually you'll be better than me, because usually photocopies, are usually never as good as the original. And so I'm always telling them, you can be yourself, and you can even be much better than I am. And I as much as possible every day, I try as much as possible, even in my tight schedule, I just try as much as possible to write open letters to people, to tell them about, just to give them words of encouragement or words of advice based on my experience as an entrepreneur. Because I have always, while I started out, I didn't have people. I did not have any support. It may be even in words. I did not have any form of support. And so I always, tried as much as possible to be that support for entrepreneurs in Africa. I try as much as possible to write open letters and just tell them, that it's going to be okay. And I tell them how I did it. And yeah, and it's amazing to see how many people, read, go through, follow these these open letters I post every day. And I remember the week I did it, I did not have any chance to post because I was so busy. And someone reached out to me and said, I missed your post, I missed your letters. And then I realized that people are actually waiting for it. And then I said, okay, I'll definitely be back, and I'll definitely write again. So yeah, it's for me, I just try as much as possible in my own little way to help people. Not because, I don't want, because I always say to myself, if I'm great, doing something great is not enough, if you do not help people to achieve the same greatness. And I do not want to be that successful Nigerian. I don't want to be that successful African. I want everybody to be successful. I want every African to be successful out there. So that, there is no such thing as he is a successful African, because every African, they know are successful. So I want to create an army of successful entrepreneurs doing amazing things to a point where, people lose count, and people outside of Africa are saying to themselves, oh, Africa has so many talents. They just can't single out that African that has that talent. So if it's Chidi. Oh, there's this guy called Chidi in Africa is doing great. I don't want that. There is so many, people in Africa doing great things. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to be singled out. I want to be, in the midst of great people, because that's how, greatness is created, when everybody's great. Yeah. So because I can't do it alone. I can't make Africa a great place on my own. So the only way I can do it is by helping people to achieve greatness. So together we can all create even more impact.
Great, man. Why do you think your work is that important in Africa, be it with Publiseer or Savvy Fellowship?
Yeah, so for me, my works at Publiseer and Savvy is just for one thing. Each day I wake up, I always tell myself, I'm trying to prevent brain drain on the continent. So I have a lot of friends, a lot of people that travel outside of Africa, and they never come back. I remember when I was outside Africa at one point, I think I spent about a couple of months outside Africa. And then there's this guy that reached out to me and said, where are you at the moment? And I told him, and he said, oh, amazing. And I was like, what was amazing? He said, I'm sure you're not going to come back. And I was like, I've been here 7 times. This is my 7th time being here, so I'm definitely going to be back. And he said, why? And then I realized that the mentality, right? He has the mentality that once you successfully leave Africa, maybe to some first world country, you shouldn't be back. And this is the thing that goes through a lot of people's mind, right? We're always trying to migrate. We're trying to leave Africa. We feel that Africa does not have the opportunities. Yeah. So, or the leverage where to get to where you want to get to. So we go outside to get that opportunity. And you see these kinds of people, they never return back. So they add to the talent of this other country or this other continent. They create children that end up, forgetting that they have any roots in Africa. And so before you know, we have all the amazing, brilliant people outside of Africa. Then my own question is, who's going to get, how's Africa going to develop? Who's going to make Africa great if every person that is great keeps leaving Africa? And so I'm always trying to, as much as possible, to create avenues, to create, for people to make wealth, for people to be gainfully employed here in Africa, so that they do not have any reason to go outside permanently. I'm not saying you cannot go out. You can go out for education. You can go out for acceleration programs or fellowships. But the idea is to keep coming back. Whatever you learn there, you bring them back and you make Africa better. And that's what I do at Publiseer, giving African creatives, especially the independent, underserved ones, that opportunity to have creative works, but to also make money from it. And also, savvy to help people, to come out of poverty or to come out of unemployment, through the entrepreneurial journey or the entrepreneurial process. And so that's how my work is actually in part in Africa, to prevent or to reduce drastically brain drain.
It's actually great that you say that, because we have a viewer called Lawrence Chiku. He's asking, whom exactly are your greatest beneficiaries when it comes to your work? And I would actually like to extend that, because you're doing so much at the moment, not just Publiseer. Whom exactly are your greatest beneficiaries with whatever you're running, or whatever country you're moving to, or whatever work you're doing?
For me, I would say it's people who want to build wealth for Africa, people who want to start a business, people who want to scale the business. Because I always tell people musicians are also business people, because they're making music not for free but for money. So they're business people. They're creating a brand. They're also making money from the brand they create. Writers are also business people. As long as you're creating wealth for yourself and for your nation, then you're a business person. So my target is those people who are looking for not an excuse, people who do not see problems as challenges, but rather see problems as an opportunity to create something great. So I'm the people that that benefit the most from my work are those who are willing to go through the process, through the hard process or the hard road to success. As long as you're willing to do it, and you're willing to not wait for somebody to come hand you something, or something to just hand you food, or to hand you awards or stuff. You're willing to walk the talk. Yeah, then those are the people that my most beneficiaries. People who want to create business, people who want to use their talent or skills to do something and create change and value for Africa. Yeah, so those are my beneficiaries. Yeah.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Another question would be, this is from Jane. Jane is asking, let me actually read it right, if I can get it right. How has your industry evolved and or will evolve in lieu of the pandemic? Has it even evolved? You're digital, but what can you say about your industry that has changed?
Well, so if we're looking at Publiseer, the industry of digital media, drastically grew because a lot of people just moved to ebooks and audiobooks and music as more as a way to stay, just more as a way to while away time, or just to pass out time, right? So during the lockdown, especially during the lockdown, we experienced a lot of sales than we've ever experienced in our 3-year history. And we had writers who there was a lot of book submissions. People were, writers seemed to have the time to finish their books. But music was on the downside, and I think the reason why music was on the downside was because record studios were kind of shut down. and people, couldn't just go to the record studio to create music. So we tried to, and we're still trying to help the musicians to be able to create music from the comfort of their homes. So there are a lot of utilities that we're using to work with them. We have BandLab, we have Soundation, and so yeah, these are the ways in which we help them to create quality music while at home. But it's not something that has taken off yet because some of them do not have the technical expertise to be able to achieve this. But generally, the digital media industry has experienced a lot of growth in terms of revenue in my industry. So it was a good for my industry. Yeah.
Okay, great. And what do you think is the future of digital media in Africa as a whole?
Well, for me, I think the future of digital media is I believe someday is going to replace the print media, right? But I feel that a lot of infrastructure has to be put in place first before we get there. Just like when we say e-commerce platforms, right? E-commerce platforms, Amazon did a lot of, made a lot of money. Amazon is one of the most, valued companies, and the founders is really one of the richest people in the world. Now, but if you look at e-commerce in Africa, it hasn't recorded similar traction like it has done in other countries, outside Africa. And I think the reason why I always tell people is because we lack the basic infrastructure to support e-commerce. We have bad road network, we have bad internet, we have insecurity, and these things they contribute to e-commerce, to the failure of e-commerce in Africa. And same thing for digital media. I believe that it has a lot of potential to keep growing and replace the print media. However, we need a lot of things to come in place. We need, most importantly, internet. The price of internet data bundles should have to be drastically reduced, because when music or downloading movies and downloading movies, it's too expensive. And I remember when I was speaking to somebody about, and I said I watch movies on Netflix every Saturdays, and they told me, how do you do that? It's so expensive, it's so data intensive. And then I realized that it's not that Netflix, the price for Netflix, data plans is really is ridiculously cheap. But then the data that you use to stream these movies is where people are actually feeling the pressure that is too right. So I think the price of data bundles have to drastically drop to something very reasonable, like in other countries, other parts of the world. And also, apart from internet bundles, we also need the price of smart devices to also drop. It's still expensive. It's too expensive. I remember buying an iPad outside, in Asia, actually South Korea, and then the same iPad, when I came to Africa, Nigeria precisely, it was going at the same price. So it's actually X price in South Korea, but in Nigeria it's 2X price. So so that means people are paying twice as much for that same product in Nigeria.
Nigeria.
It's crazy to realize that things are so expensive, and so these are the things that that I think that if we get right, then digital media will be like the real, the main thing, instead of having to, instead of print media, or it would completely replace it. So hopefully someday, we have reasonably cheap data bundle or affordable data bundle, and quality but affordable smart devices.
But I think maybe my question to you, especially seeing that digital activity and digital media and all that is really up your lane, how exactly do you think we can manage this in Kenya, especially as young people? How do you think we can overcome the lack of access to digital access, both soft and hardware? How do you think we can do that?
I don't think I got the question properly.
My question is, do we overcome the challenge, especially as young people in Africa, towards digital access, both in cost, both in hardware and software? How do you think as young people we can come together and overcome that challenge? Because it seems at the moment our government, respective governments, are really not not supporting us on that. How do you think we can do it as young people?
That's
Yes, it's a heavy one.
I think the only way in which we can overcome these things, it's actually a behavioral problem, and that's, changing the way people think is something that's the most difficult thing that you can ever do. And from my experience, I think the only way in which we can do this is as a people, we decide to create, to create or to force that change to happen. Because I don't know how I'm going to put this, but I think I was speaking to somebody 2 days ago about the data in Nigeria, and I said to the person that 48 gigabytes 3 years ago, used to last me a lot, but now the 48 gig doesn't go anywhere. So I'm like, did it change? The 48 gig of data, in 2017, is it different from the 48 gig now? I'm just trying to understand. And I think it's because there's there's no regulation. People, all these telecommunications, they do as they please. They do as they want. They charge, as they want. They keep just, and I think I just don't know what I would, what is going to. But I think the only way in which we can do this is through regulation. People, have to understand that, you just can't make money off the citizens, And I think I don't know, because I don't like talking about politics because I'm about it, right? But I think it has to start from from the government. The governance has to change. People have to understand, because I recently discovered that Tanzania don't have access to internet anymore. And I was like, what's going on in Africa? And so I just imagine if Tanzania was my target customers, I've lost business, as a media platform, and so that's how business has gone down the drain. So I think a lot has to go, has to go through the governance. We need to change. I wouldn't say, because people always say we need younger people in power, and I said no, we don't need younger people in power. We need competent people. If you're young, if you're old, as long as you're competent, then I'm fine with that. Because I've seen so many young people who are incompetent as well. So I don't think it's about the age. I think it's about the competent people. We should not sell our vote, because we sell our vote. Whoever gives us maybe food, we sell it. I don't know how it works in Kenya, but in this part of Africa, Nigeria, people sell their votes. People go, during election period, people vote for whoever is giving them the most bribe. People vote for those that talk, for the best talker, and instead of, it's your job to look at the person's past records and see how the person has been able to, what the person has been able to achieve, and have the person been the kind of person that keep to their words. If they say A, they do A. You just don't just vote for anybody. And also sometimes some people say that in Africa there's no election, it's rather selection. So I don't know how to do that. So, but I think a lot has to come from that, because I don't think as a private person I can change the price of data. I don't know how possible it is. But I also think maybe the private sector has to. Anyway, data bundle in Kenya and Nigeria is run by the private people. Safaricom is private sector. MTN is private sector. Still, it's still expensive. So I think regulation has to come into play. And so
you've talked about competency by young people, and I just need to confirm exactly what exactly do you mean by competency?
Yeah, so I don't know how it works, but I'll speak about Africa and Nigeria, because I'm very familiar with what is going on in Nigeria. So in Nigeria, you see a lawyer being Minister of Energy. and you see a farmer being Minister of Health. Like, people, I'm not saying they're not great people. They are great people, but they have no idea about, they have no idea about what you appointed them to do. They have no idea. They're typically learning on the job, and I don't think that's right. You cannot be a minister of something and you're learning on the job. It's not. This is not internship. We're looking for people that have that experience, that track record, that understand the industry properly to be able to create change.
That can deliver to the citizens.
Yeah. So you see people who don't even have any clue about what they're doing. They're properly, like, they're experienced. However, you're putting them in a place where they have no idea, what they're doing. So sometimes I feel maybe they just put them there because, they're not the real ministers. Maybe they're like the poster ministers, and somebody is just the real minister that tells them what to do. They just do it, no questions. Because that's what I mean by competency, right? You don't put the wrong people there. If this person has experience in agriculture, make them the minister of agriculture. If they have experience in education, maybe they're world-class, lifelong, educators, make them minister of education. Don't make somebody who is, who has his experience in education to be the minister of information. How is that going to be possible? So I think that's what I mean, competence, right? Not because you have 2 masters and 1 PhD means that you fit the job description. Your 2 masters and your PhD might not be relevant in the job description. So we need that is, where is relevant. So you see sometimes someone with a master's degree, just 1 master's degree, can do better than somebody with 2 master's degree and a PhD because he or she is in the field that that is relevant to their qualification, and this one has no idea what is happening.
Amazing. Actually, I'll connect to that and try see how, as we as young people, how can we keep our leaders accountable? How can we also ensure there's transparency within even our own leadership as young people? Because you're a leader. I mean, you're an Acumen Fellow. You're a fellow for so many things, man. I can't even mention all of them. You're a leader already. How can we keep you accountable? How can we keep each other accountable?
Well, for me, the only way we can keep each other accountable is just more like follow up. Sometimes I usually say this, that people say things that they don't really mean or they don't do, but then we don't follow up. We don't even care about it. Just like the NSAS in Nigeria, right? You hear today SAS has been disbanded. That SAS, the unit SAS was disbanded 4 times in the past, in 2016. So they're disbanded. Next time they're on the street again, they're disbanded again, and next time they're on the street. That's because we are not following up. We don't really follow up on what's going on. We just we as people, we just want to live our lives, right? And I think that's the problem with Africa. And I often say this a lot. The problem with Africa is individuality. We always focus about ourselves, myself. If SARC has not done me anything in the past, I'm fine. Then they are fine. They can still exist. It's until the problem directly affects us. That's when we decide that okay, we need to join. And put and just hold the government accountable. People just feel like the education system is bad, but anyway, my kids are studying abroad, so I'm fine. They don't really care because it does not directly affect them. And that individuality, concept is what has been the problem of Africa. You as an entrepreneur, you've built 2 businesses, you've sold them, you're living life with the local, and you do not care if other people are suffering. You don't care if other people are able to make ends meet. And when somebody tells you that there's abject poverty, there's extreme poverty in your country, you begin to ask why. I was able to do it, they should be able to do it. I always tell people that your starting point might be someone's end point or middle point. Like, I was born in a middle income family. My father and my parents were able to provide for me the basic things I needed. I was able to go to private schools. I was able to go to the best schools. But there's some people who never had that opportunity at all because where they came from really extreme poor family background, and so they did not even have this basic education that you have. And then when you see someone speak bad English, you begin to say, you're so illiterate, you're not properly educated, and we actually feel it's their fault, but it's not. Most of them is not their fault. Most of them really want to speak good English. Most of them really want to to appear learned and to speak with confidence. However, they did not get the opportunity. So that's the problem with Africa. We always focus on ourselves. If it works for me, then it should work for every other person. Okay, Chidi, I've been able to travel to a number of countries. Then somebody begins to tell me, oh, I applied for a visa and I did not get it now. And I was like, I think it's your fault. It might not be their fault. It could be that they have no idea, what is required. Or maybe they don't just have the requirement. They don't have the required stats to be able to get the visa. It's not their fault, right? I think so. I think in Africa, if we all come together and we don't only think about ourselves, we also think about other people. We try to put ourselves in the shoes of other people. And we try to walk in their shoes. We try to wake up and live for other people. Trust me, one day it will get better. I was in a Zoom meeting, and the speaker said something that really caught my attention. He said that of the electricity grid in America were built by individual communities, that it was not built by the government. Mm-hmm. That the America you see today and we begin to admire was not built by the government mostly. It was built by the citizens, the little people. They come together. They begin to wonder, how can I make life better for the other person? And once we are able to do that, and we're able to hold ourselves accountable, right? We say to ourselves, you wake up this morning, you're not thinking about how you can make 100,000 shillings and put in your pocket, and then and go on Friday to to the club and turn up. You're thinking about how you can help that kid on the street get back to school. Once we begin to have genuine selfless thoughts in Africa, I think the leaders will change, because we have bad leaders because they're selfish. They're always thinking about how they can enrich their pocket and the lives of their family members, not how they can enrich the nation. There was this woman that told me something. She said, Africans were a very poor nation, but then America, we have poor citizens, but rich nation. And so the rich nation is able to help these poor citizens get the basic things of life. And so I think if Africa can decide to have, not to forget about having rich citizens, don't think about wealth for yourself, but just think about wealth for the nation. Someday. I don't know how
Hey, but man, that's some rich vibe right there. I mean, wow, what do I even go to next? Please tell us, give us, somebody's actually asking, please give us some background on the NSAS campaign. We'd like to know also how to come in and see how we can be part of it, even as different Africans from different regions of Africa. So just, if you don't mind, please give us a background on that, and just tell us maybe what part you're playing exactly in it also.
So police brutality, that's just what NSAS is about. Where it's, forget about the hashtag. We're just talking about police brutality. So SARS is a section in the Nigerian police that handles robbery. So the AR means anti-robbery. So they handle robbery, and we should feel safe around them. Whenever we see them, we should feel like these are the people that are protecting us from robbers, from violent people. But however, when we see them, we are scared. We actually, I think these days we are more scared of these SARS people than the robbers themselves, because we feel like the robbers are actually nice. They just want to take our money and go. But the SARS people don't mind killing you. I remember in the first time I experienced these SARS people, my first experience is in 2014. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was driving with my twin brother and a couple of friends, two actually. One is actually a musician under Publiseer right now. Mm-hmm. And we were just trying to move around, and we wanted to buy a phone that day. We wanted to buy a new smartphone that just came out, and we were just excited to see the features of the phone. And I don't know what happened, but we went to change the money at the bureau de change, right? We went to go change some dollars to get naira. And immediately we came out of that place and we were moving. We were just a bus just overtook us. And the bus was just like a regular bus, right? It was a regular van. And then people on mufti, just normal dress, civilian dress, kept hopping out, about 11 of them. And they were all holding like really, really sophisticated rifle. And I felt that we were about to get robbed. That's the idea. And then I discovered that, these guys later, I discovered that they were police, officials, and they're part of the SAS people. And then they said to us, get down, come down. The way they spoke to us, actually people around there would think that we just robbed the bank, and then, and they just intercepted us, and they were trying to apprehend us, because the way they did it, we looked like we were just criminals. Get down from the van, get down. And I'm like, what is going on here? And they just threw us into their van and took us to their police station. It was then we had to explain them who we were and what we did for a living. And we had to show them the several media appearances we've made. And I think because of the media, the extensive media coverage about us, that was the reason why they let us go, because they were scared that if they did anything to us there, then the media is going to take it, and then maybe they might, lose their jobs and stuff. So they just decided to let us go. But then my question was that, what about if we're just regular people with regular jobs that did not attract a lot of media attention? What happens to us? Are we going to get killed there? Because I think another reason was that we had a lot of cash with us. And I think that was the reason why they came after us, maybe because they saw that we took some, we paid, put some dollars somewhere and came out with some naira. So they saw that we had a lot of money with us. And I think that's the reason why they wanted to just, hold us. And whenever these guys hold you, they are just thinking about money. They are thinking about money, or else they kill you. Except you're able to show to them that you're heavily connected in the country. And then they simply in 2000 this year, actually, I came back I came into the country, and 2 days later I was coming back from a TV interview, and they also came, they came for me again, and I was like, what's going on here? They told me to get down of the car. It began, the slaps were just coming from different angles, and I was like, what's going on? I did not rob you, and they began to go through my phone. And when they see any foreign number, they ask me, who is this person? Who is that person? And I said, it's your job. You're police intelligence, right? Why don't you read the chat between us, and then you understand what is going on, right? And I think after they went through the chats and all my home messages, they concluded that I was legit, and I was kind of heavily connected, and I knew a lot of people, especially in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria. And so one of them told the other person, let's let this guy go. He seems to be really heavily connected, so let's just let him go. And then I kept wondering, what about the other guys that are not heavily connected? Because while they put me in their van, they kept putting people in the van as well. And they kept, people kept, they kept taking money from these people and letting them go. But I said, I'm not going to give them any money, right? And so, I'm just worried about, what about people that are not able to tell their stories? So that's what NSAS is all about. The youths began to, to voice their opinion that they're tired of having to be profiled as criminals because they look good. They're using the latest gadgets, that they own a MacBook or they own an iPhone, so, and they dress good and they look good. That's the profile of a criminal in Nigeria now. It's really annoying because the real criminals, are not dressing good, are not using iPhone. You let them go, all because they look. You begin to wonder, how did we get it all wrong that you begin to profile someone as a criminal because they are living a beautiful life.
And maybe just to interject on that a bit, do you think and you see there's a real history between the police and colonialism? Do you think that's something that's still continuing even within this generation?
I wouldn't want to say about colonization because I believe that a lot of people were colonized and their country have census and their country is doing very well. So I don't think it's colonization. I think it's just lack of common sense. So, that's the basic way I can put it because I wonder why you would profile someone as a criminal because they look good. This is how the police mentality is in Nigeria. If I cannot have, that's the police speaking to himself. If I cannot afford this iPhone 11 and you're using it and you're 22, then you're a criminal because I am 52. I can't afford it. I've been in this world for 52 years. You've just been in this world for 52 years. How can you afford it? What are you doing? That's how they think. So they don't understand that people have begun to create revenue for themselves. Even especially on the internet. There are a lot of lucrative things to do on the internet, and people make money. People make so much money from the internet in the legal way. I do understand that people still make illegal money on the internet, but there's still people who make a huge majority of them that make it the legal way and the right way. So the moment you tell them who are you, you say you're a software developer. He just reads software developer. He uses the computer. He's a criminal. That's how they think. As long as you use the computer, you have a laptop, you're a criminal. They don't want to know what you do with it. Andela, I know you have Andela, right? So the company Andela have had to go to a lot of they've had to go to the police station a lot of times to bail their software developers a lot of times. Because of the police, whenever the police see them, they always see them robbers, criminals, bad people. You're using internet, you have a laptop, you have a MacBook. Obviously, you're a 419 person. You're a fraudster, and they just kill people. Some people don't even have the opportunity to tell their story. I'm telling you my story, and I can tell you that there are hundreds of people out there that when we're not able to tell their story. Just looking at during the time of the protest, a lot of people came out to talk about the family members and the cousins that they have lost, and the stories were just endless. So the protest we had, that physical protest we had, was just I think we was going on, and we said we have to do something about it. Yeah, but unfortunately, Nigeria always find a way to just mess everything up. So they discovered that we are doing peaceful protests, and we were not trying to make any trouble. So they decided, okay, we're going to make you guys look like you're bad people. So what they do is they went to go hire hoodlums, right, thugs on the streets, to act like protesters as well, but to create violence, right? And now they say, oh, you protesters, you guys are now violent, just as a way to discredit what we are doing as a people. We're actually creating a good cause for over 10 days. We're doing, everything was peaceful. People come out, fly the Nigerian flag, talk about what, and then you decide that you want to discredit the entire movement by bringing thugs to come and infiltrate the entire protest and begin to create chaos. That's just so insensitive. And then, doing that, they gave themselves a reason why they should now attack the protesters. Since you guys have now become violent, we are going to attack you guys. And that was what was responsible for the Lake massacre. Soldiers opening fire on people. It's when you think about this, you understand that there's a fundamental problem Africa has, fundamental problem that Nigeria has, and the fundamental problem is that we say that we're democracy and this is free, but I doubt. I don't believe that this is freedom of speech, because I believe that Tanzania as well is also under democracy, right? Because I know their leader is not a military officer. So how, in heaven's name, would you stop internet and you claim that you guys are in democracy? I just don't understand. I think Africa, a lot, we just have selfish people thinking about themselves. And the moment that we decide to cancel that idea of individuality, some changes will begin to happen.
Chidi, wow, that's amazing, and even our time is running out. Thank you so much for that. I would like to ask, how exactly are you making the difference while we are at it? Having mentioned all those things that are causing us trouble, how exactly are you making a difference?
So my way of making a difference was I just shared my story, and I, just wanted people to understand that I have been through it myself, and that I also believe that SARS has to be stopped, like ended, and not just reformed. And so I just because I have a lot of huge followership, and so I decided that I put my mouth where my money is. I put since that's where I have the most connection. I just did as much as possible to speak about what I have gone and what the Nigerian police have and that we need to stop it. Hopefully someday. Hopefully someday.
Hopefully someday, man. I mean, you've just put us on a somber note, so I'll just try to wrap this up. But thank you so much for the work that you're doing and what you're trying to do, even with your voice, your little voice, if I may put it that way, that you're trying to do. Guys, let me actually also mention something. Chidi has been described as one of the young innovators making Africa great in 2019. And 50 top personalities on LinkedIn. Nwaogu is the winner of the Migration Entrepreneurship Prize 2020, the Africa 35.35 Award 2019 for Entrepreneurship, the Young Leaders Award 2019 for Media and Entertainment, and the Bees Business Excellence Award 2019. And that's just 2019. I haven't even told guys about your 2020, man. Maybe you can just tell us yourself what has been the highlight for you during this Corona season.
Well, apart from the awards, we've had huge revenue. The revenue actually somewhat doubled, not actually doubled, but somewhat doubled. And the highlight for this pandemic for me is foreign savvy. That's the highlight for me because I believed that it was the pandemic that made me to do it, and so I'm forever grateful to the pandemic for making me to see the need, and so yeah, that's been the highlight for me, for me so far. Yeah.
Oh, great. What's the one book that has actually that you've read that has changed your life, or rather turned around your life perspective?
Well, for me, it's your. It's funny, but to me, it's the subtle. I don't know if you know the book. It's the subtle act of not giving. I don't have. I don't want to complete the whole because the it's quite.
It's okay.
Yeah, I know you know the book. I don't know if you know the book. So
I know the book.
Yeah, it's an amazing book, especially for people who want to do something, and you because it always makes you remind. It always reminds you that no matter what you do, no matter how good you think you're doing, or no matter how selfless your actions are, people will always still criticize whatever you're doing. And so that you just have to walk your walk. Just do your part. Do what you think is right, and just enjoy the process.
Interesting. Do you have a favorite? I mean, you watch movies a lot, so do you have a favorite movie genre, or what's your favorite movie that actually also changed your life? I think that would be something people would like to hear.
Actually, people think that naturally when people see me, they think I love action movies because I love I love wearing camouflage, right? Like I love wearing camo. So they think, oh, you look like action movies. Funny thing is that I do not like action movies at all.
Oh.
Like, at all. So I believe there's too much violence in the real world. I don't want to see it in the movie. That's how I see it. Yeah.
Okay.
So my favorite genre of movies is romantic comedies. I just enjoy it. It just makes me smile, and I love smiling. So yeah, I love smiling in my photos. If you see me in my photos, I'm always smiling. And so whatever is going to give me a reason to smile, I definitely watch it. And romantic comedies do the magic for me. So yeah, I love romantic comedies. I love watching this type of movies. Yeah.
That's interesting. I never saw the lead. I didn't expect that. Okay, so that's your favorite book. That's your favorite movies. What about favorite music or genre?
For me, it's Afrobeats, Afropop. I'm African. I'm African all the way. You know, I love the sound of Burna Boy. I love the sound of Fireboy. You know, I think there's a lot of boys these days that are doing great. Even Joe Boy and Omale. I just love Afropop and Afrobeats. I love the African sound. And it's I just don't know. Like, give me African music any day, and you have me. So these days, I listen to American music. I'm not saying they're all bad, but sometimes I
Yeah.
listen to them and I do not even understand. How, I'm like, how is this music? You know, and I think it's because I've really started appreciating African music, and it's good that we begin to appreciate our own things. You know, you appreciate your thing, and
Yeah.
for me, I love the fact that Africans have begun to embrace African music. And I don't think I would have it any other way. So for me, my favorite genre, Afrobeat and Afropop.
Good stuff, man. As we wind up, I think hopefully this is the last question. What comes to mind when you hear "Let's Create Africa"?
Well, for me, what comes to mind is that selflessness. Like everybody waking up and not thinking about themselves. For a change, don't think about yourself for a change. Think about other people. And I always say to people, no matter where you are, even if you are the janitor, you can do something good for somebody else. You don't have to be in a position of leadership or power or have so much money, but you can actually do something positive for somebody else. You can just maybe offer your hand to an old woman walking down the road. You can offer a helping hand. You can help her take her bags. These are the things that I'm talking about. I'm not thinking about I'm not saying go online and do giveaway. No, I'm talking about, just for one day, just think about not just yourself, think about other people. And when I hear "Let's Create Africa," I think about selflessness. People think having selfless thoughts, always asking themselves, what can I do for somebody today that will make their life better, and not just myself, And then trust me, Africa, will be great.
Thanks so much for that, Chidi. I mean, it's been 1 hour of awesomeness, man. Thank you so much. And guys, if I've not finished up on Chidi's bio, I mean, it's a bit too great. But let me finish up on it by saying he's an Acumen Fellow 2020 in West Africa, IDEX Global Fellow 2020 India, and that's actually what he's doing in 2020. He's a Westerwelle Fellow 2019 Germany, Halcyon Incubator Fellow 2019 in Washington, D.C., African PLP Fellow 2019, and Eunice and Youth Fellow 2019, New York. I mean, for guys who haven't heard about Chidi before, Chidi is, first, I usually say amazing, but Chidi is a serial tech entrepreneur, entrepreneurial ecosystem builder, and software developer. Nwaogu is also the co-founder and CEO of Publiseer, a digital publisher for African creatives, described by Konbini as one of the largest digital publishers in Africa, and identified by IFC as one of the startups that could speed up innovation in Africa. Chidi, is there something you'd like us to help you with, to reach out to you, or is there a way we can actually work together that you'd like us to know, and how can we get to you?
Well, I'm always open to collaboration. I'm always open to whatever. If maybe I do not always tell people, when you're writing to me, do not think about what I would, what you do for me. You can completely write to me in a selfish way and always thinking about what I can do for you. I'm fine with it. So I love helping, So if you have anything that you think that I can help you, reach out to me, and if I can do it, I'll do it. And so you can always reach out to me on social media. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn. Same picture and all, same name, same picture, same cover photo. And just if you want to easily find it, you can just Google Chidi Nwaogu, and that's CHIDINWAOGU. And then you will see all my profiles on Google, so you can easily know which is the right one. And but also you can also visit my personal website at chidi.xyz. And so you get to see all my social media handles there. You get to see my biography and how I've spent my 30 years, on Earth. And then you also see my email address and my WhatsApp number. So you can always reach out to me on WhatsApp. The number is on my website. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, guys, please remember he's actually said he's 30 years of age. I don't know what that means to everybody, but hey, get lucky if you might. But Chidi, thank you so much for this. This is Let's Create Africa. My name is Waihigakmuturi, and on Let's Create Africa, we inspire, inform, and highlight change makers in Africa. It's been real, guys. Thank you so much. It's past the hour, as I promised. Chidi, man, thank you so much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for today. See you next week, Tuesday. Same. I won't say same time because it depends on who's being interviewed and which country they are in. But see you next Tuesday. For those who are looking for us, please check us out on YouTube. Let's Create Africa. If you want to check on Twitter, it's also Let's Create Africa. But you can also go to Facebook Live. That's waihigakmuturi, which is my name. Thank you so much, guys. See you. Take care. Be blessed. Thank you so much.